So a common argument I see about, defending AI is that AI is doing the same thing as artists, which is, taking in and absorbing and learning from others and other things that have already been created. To that argument, I also agree to that, saying that, artists do the same thing, although on a much smaller scale. But even though I agree, I still didn't fully like understand, or like it didn't sit right with me, and I couldn't really verbalize why. But I've kind of put together my own little thesis about, what is the fundamental difference between all of it. And I think that a big fundamental difference is sort of this rise in efficiency in our society. So, like, a big point about AI is that, or like a big benefit why all these like corpos, they all want to use AI and all that, is that, it's fast. That's like the big selling point. Like, oh, it's so much faster. You can do so much stuff so much faster. And with all of this talk, it's easy to sort of fall into like this thought process that fast is good, being, really efficient is good, but that's kind of only taking it and seeing it from the side of the corporation. But slowness in reality is honestly like the most human feature of everything. Slowness is what makes things feel human. And that's going to be essentially my argument. This is going to be like trying to be more organized, but also a little bit yappy. And I have like my script on, like you can hear the paper. I think that there's this balance of you wanting to create, move fast, do everything really quickly, and also make a lot of money doing it. But then that's at the sacrifice of going slow. And we kind of see that in not just art, but in like everything with all the content that gets made and consumed. So like kids, I've worked with kids before, and a lot of kids these days, they're all like, we don't watch movies or TV shows or anything like that. A lot of the kids, they only like watching YouTube shorts. You also see it in Netflix too. So like Netflix has like the thing where they want the people who are making Netflix movies to have very specific guidelines of like, you got to make sure you explain the plot all the time, because people are going to be on their phones while watching the movie. You need to have like an action hook in the very first 2 minutes of the movie, so that way you can grab people's attention and all that stuff. So there's no room for slowness, there's no room to breathe, and I think that's ultimately like a negative thing. The main idea is that we need to go slow, we need to slow down, and it's not about being fast, it's about being slow. The world is getting faster, right? Everything's moving fast. There's no time to now marinate or to cook. There's no time to think, and there's also no time for like silence. I mean, there's this popular sentiment right now where it's like, oh, I can't sit in silence. I need to have, headphones on. I need to be listening to music while I do something. I can't just be quiet. That kind of kills our ability to reflect, and that kills our ability to think and to sort of be lost in our own thoughts and to let our brains rest. There's also no time to like experiment or mess around with things anymore, because things have to be on such a tight deadline. There's the pressure from the external sources, which is like the corporations, the deadlines, things like that. And then there's stuff like the internal pressure, which is our own wanting to get better, our own wanting to go fast so that we can catch up to things, or so that we don't get left behind. And then, we're prioritizing speed. We're making the art fast. We're drawing, we need to create stuff fast. The stuff that we're making, because it's so fast, it is becoming more generic. You see like the corpo slop, or you see like the very generic copycat games. Just like every single game right now is live action hero shooter, and it's like the most generic looking things you've ever seen. So I think the whole idea is that it seems like there's this underlying sort of positive sentiment. Things are so much faster. We can do things so much more quickly. I don't have to spend so much time doing this. When in reality, I think that why do we need to go fast? Why do we have to, you know, make a million things so quickly? Why can't we just slow down? What's wrong with being slow? And I mean, the thing that's wrong with being slow, obviously, is that it's not making enough money. Think about the shareholder. Think of the hustle culture, right? Let me sell you my course on how to get rich quick. If you're not waking up at 4 a.m. in the morning and then filming yourself doing it, are you actually being productive? Are you actually being useful? Why do I need to be productive? Why can't I just be human? So I'm gonna do what a lot of anime artists or animators and stuff like to do, which is bring up Japan. I don't want to come off as a I don't know, like a Japan glazer. Japan has some really bad things, bad bureaucracy, bad bad work culture a lot of times, and it's slowly getting better, but there's still like the classic black company. It's all about efficiency. It's all about getting things done and working until you drop, ignoring the human pace of things. So there's the popular MAPPA situation where like animators were like they don't get to go home, they don't see their families for like a month or whatever. People are quitting, people are speaking out. The reason why I bring it up, the Japan and like East Asian culture, because Japan has these two concepts that I think are really strong, and I think that need to be sort of reintroduced, brought into our brains. If you watch Studio Ghibli, you've probably heard of the term ma. Essentially, the kanji of ma is basically meaning like time, or a time interval, the interval of time. And the kanji is made up of the symbol for a gate and then the symbol for the sun. And the idea is that there's sunlight or light that streams through the gate that open a jar door, a gateway that's slightly open, a gap in the opening. It's the value in empty space. It's the value in the slowness of things. So like in Studio Ghibli movies, they'll see moments where it's like the character is sitting around not doing anything. There's the famous scene that everyone brings up in Spirited Away, where she's sitting on the train. And it's this intentional space, right? Music has it a lot too. In music, when you're playing, there's like when you're looking at sheet music, there's rests, and you're always told you need to play the rests, not just play the notes. The rests are just as important. In jazz, when you're doing improv, you need to, when you have your solo or something, it's not just playing your notes. It's also finding moments of rest, and that'll also allow then your other, the drums or the bass to come in and give a little riff and to sort of play off of everything, right? The rest is what's valuable. The rest is also important. It's not just about the grind, the da 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 da. This ties it all the way back to AI. Like, how does this tie all the way back to AI? The main thing about it is, and I think that this is so like poetic and extra in the language Japanese. The word, or one of the words for human being, is ningen, which is human space. So it uses the characters for human, which is nin, and then gen, which is another reading for the ma character. And it literally translates to something like person space, the human space. It's poetic because it's kind of saying that like humanity, the word for being human, is sort of defined by what is humans' relationship with the space they occupy, with what their community is, right? With this interval of time that they exist in the world. Having slowness, having time to reflect, having time to just sit around and do things slowly is what makes it human. And it's something that AI is kind of not aware of, or is not being considerate of. The other term that I want to bring in now is Kodawari. And Kodawari is just a term of sort of being stuck. It's sort of just spending more time than needed because you're obsessing over one little detail. If something doesn't look right, you want to push forward. You want to try to figure out, like, how can I fix it? It just looks weird. It looks strange. I don't like this. Let me, spend another few hours or even a few days, weeks, like workshopping it and trying to figure out how I can make it look good. It's like this radical slowness. It's like this intense slowness where you're just like, I don't care, how long it's going to take. I'm going to spend as much time as I need on it. Connect this argument all the way back to AI is that, the machine, yes, it does what a human does, where it like studies and it looks and and takes inspiration from all of this just different media, right? That's how you learn to draw. You look at artists and things that you like and you practice just like the machine. But the machine doesn't have this kodawari. It doesn't have this like hang up, getting obsessed over a specific detail in something because it doesn't look right, because it doesn't, feel like what I want it to be. It doesn't have like this soulful obsession because the machine, it doesn't feel, this pride or this attachment to the process or to whatever it's creating. It's just making a product. It just has this end goal of like, this product needs to serve this purpose rather than the process needs to serve a purpose to me. That is kind of the missing piece when in the argument of, is AI like a human? Is AI doing whatever? Maybe people have already figured that out, but for me, I was kind of like, I don't know how to put it into words. It's more of like a vibe thing for a lot of it, but now I'm finally putting it into words. And my words are, AI does create a type of art. AI does did learn and study. I don't want to say does because it already did. It already scraped the whole internet. It did learn and, do things and study things the same way or a similar way that humans do, just at a much larger scale. But it doesn't have this slower intentionality, and it doesn't have this obsession over the small details that humans do. And there's things that you can only kind of solve with time, with slowness. The slowness allows people to inject humanity into it. In the current season of Frieren, season 2, there's this whole part about, the ending scene was just all color pencil animation, hand drawn color pencil, and it has such a huge impact to the community of people who were watching it because it had, you know, this Kodawari, this ma inside of it, and it has this humanity within it, where it's just someone grinding away for a long time. And you see that in like Ghibli movies. In The Wind Rises, there's that 4-second clip of like a busy street, and that took 15 months to animate. 15 months for 4 seconds. And that's the kind of slowness that I think is going away, or that's being devalued, because right now the narrative or what's being said all the time is, oh my gosh, this new thing is gonna save so much time. It's gonna cut back on all of this time. You can now have so much more time to do things that we like. What do you mean have time to do things that we like? Isn't the AI just doing what we like? So then, like, what is it saving time for? What are we saving time on? Saving time on watching YouTube shorts? I'm at fault. I hate spending a lot of time on something. Even in this animation, that the time lapse, it's like I don't like it, and I didn't want to spend more time on it. So I'm just like, I love efficiency. I grew up being, taught be as efficient as possible, get things done quickly, get things done well and fast. I'm a slave to the corpos. I love the cushy corpo job. Just let me have my health insurance and my paycheck, and I just do my job and I go home. I enjoy it. That's my life. But I also hate it and I don't agree with it. It's a contradiction, I know, but I'm human and contradictions are okay. AI is used to help save time. But what are we saving time for? Why? What are we going to do with all of this time that we now have?